Um, I don't know how to explain computation without seeming completely off the wall or crazy, but it is kind of how astrophysics works. And then between the invisible and the divisible world of symbols, and not everything works out to 1 plus 1 equals 2. I got a mailer yesterday about something about National Grid. It's some coded complexity of whatever. Just shows me people are working. Of course, always by myself. I'm like, I don't know what it really means. And then it's like asking me to give up my rights on something, and I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna need like a consult on that, but I don't even know where to go or who to see. I saw something this morning about, I guess it's a campaign word, it's QA and then NON, and I'm like, well, QA is usually questions and answers, and then there's NON, there's none of it on my end. It's like I got lots of questions, but nobody's answering. I mean, like, the universe is throwing me classical signs and symbols, but I don't have, like, a rock jock at my disposal to, like, say, listen, big brother, like, you've been more in tune with humanity than I have. And between middle management and upper management, I've been left in, like, skeleton closet for some reason. What do I do about this? I mean, like, just, that would be nice. Especially considering, I mean, when you have, like, astroplane, it's supposed to be one, and then, now, I just read something about dead galaxies, in ancient galactic cities. Threw it up day after I received this in the actual physical mail of where they astro projected me. And it's, again, in like a holographic universe where I can see the dead spots and like the, almost like if they trim the fat, like, and then it floats off, it creates these like dead spots or dead galaxies in cities of form, but there's still life on the galactic inter-exchange, which gets really difficult as to how and why and who's malforming certain areas of the galaxy that are broken off. This has a national mention in alpha. I hate to say alphabet characteristic, but it is what it is. I see on teleportation device they're fighting. And then there's like this saying one of the humans used on a television, since there's no real interaction except for my children and and whatever. So, I mean, there's other life forms, I just don't know them around here. They're transients, meaning they didn't grow up around here, they just showed up or arrived, and however that timing mechanic is working. So, which I guess goes back to geopolitical. So, they say, where did the time go? Yeah, that's really interesting on a theoretical. If they're pausing parts of galactic arrangement, floating them off into these dead cities, and they're not quantifiably capable, or they're not investing time to investigate what happened to the family members that are present, just in harm's way. I mean, this is getting, I mean, it's not complicated in when you sit down and you star chart it, but on some form of, like, I'm not even a public figure. I'm a private house, but I've got to get message to. I have two public figures that are adorned with the number 12 for a 12 cubit in like Aurora Borealis thermodynamic crystal type of, no, there are invisible numbers. There's a whole polymathematic, polyscience field to it. But I just don't have access to that level of important human being in a dead galaxy that somehow, when I mention rock, paper, scissors, the rock is in Black Hills, South Dakota. That's what they call it. Don't know the Black Rock tie-in, but they are definitely a silver-colored stone, and it has the word national on it. It matches the green paper that they use for quantifiable things. Here's a Hamilton. So the paper matches the rock. Some of them, the faces do. And then there's some other family tie-ins that were agreed upon at some level for multiple profile, but one territory with one anchor into universal certainty should any of the other consort shift dangerously or disagree at some point. For those of us caught out in a dead galaxy. So I don't even know how they're relating that, because again, I'm not part of the conversation and I don't even know who to address the conversation to. In New York City, it is not how I arrived in 1978 any longer. It's reconfigured somehow. It looks like a whole lot of other things, but there are other things that are calling itself national, like a national football league, national hockey league, national baseball, although they're really the major leagues in baseball, so that gets confusing. But I see a pattern of nation words. Soccer's in a major league, not in a national league. Almost like you can only have so many slots on the bingo card, and then you gotta start another one because otherwise it gets really whatever. So I'm looking at national or territorial paper they've used since before I arrived, so I have history on that paper. And same thing with the rock. They actually have a national parks service that hires people, has their own national integration, and they protect things, monuments all over the territory. I don't really know all of them as I should, but I haven't really been in even that level of interaction since things in New York in my appearance, have not been conducive. It's been more survival and trying not to get tranquilized, darted with drugs from the locals that are coming in with all sorts of problems, issues, thoughts, ideas. Everybody's got a gimmick or a good idea, and I'm like, okay. Where's West Virginia in the Kissing Cousins League? That's really where I need to focus most of my energy. I met them when I was young. I just don't know how to get back to that Williamsburg with Jamestown and Yorktown triad. Um, I mean, how do you find one of those people in real life? Oh, okay, so that happened. So I put it up on Facebook. It was an article written by somebody in the galaxy, I guess, somewhere between Galaxy and Milky Way of I don't know how they got to their level of educated, but they're acknowledging it. I'm taking it as some algorithmed sewn into my Google that is some part of information I needed to know in metaverse for what's happening in physicality of wherever I'm being housed. To tie more complex thought process and whatever to gain momentum, because again, it's like locomotion. And at the moment, I'm in dangerous health status, but I think they just put a label on it that it's dead galaxies. And there's multiple of them. I'm not the only one. And I've already made mention that I've lost constellations in the night sky. I've already put it on film that there's the whatever in multiple lengths. So it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies, Broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And there was a movie, a tie-in, that came out called Don't Look Up. I think Leonardo DiCaprio was in it. He was in another tie-in movie, which was James Cameron and the Titanic. For the expanse of his career and the importance of the two. I think he's they use this word global or climate person, but again, I don't really know what that means because I don't know how to follow any of these people. Really, like the social trailing of somebody more important is really confusing me at the moment. So, yeah, it's February 12th, 2022.